Hi everyone, welcome back to the Alliyah show. I'm your host Alliyah, and in today's episode I want to talk to you about your focus, where your energy goes, and why you shouldn't give any thought that you haven't actually planned more than 5 minutes of your time, because if you do, it can often throw you off the course of whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, and we don't want that. So if this is your type of subject and if this is of interest to you, stay tuned and let's get into the show. There's a really famous quote that is, where focus goes, energy flows. And that's pretty much how you need to look at this subject, which is anything you concentrate on, you will suddenly be pouring all your energy into it, and you will literally be multiplying whatever it is that's in that situation by tenfold, and you're bringing that into your life. If you do that to something negative, you're bringing in negative things. It's as simple as that. Now, when you're planning all these amazing transformation work and all these other amazing goals and all these other things that you want to do and all these milestones you want to achieve and how you're trying to get yourself back into a place that you're going to be proud of. By the way, you should be proud of your path right now. But if you're working on something huge and you're got all this energy and all this zest about things, the last thing you need to do is potentially be thrown off your path, which can happen because guess what? We're human. It happens. For example, say you're trying to manifest in the most amazing relationship you've ever had and you're worthy of and you do deserve, and suddenly you run into your ex with his new bird. And then suddenly it throws you off because A, you weren't expecting that, and B, it sends you back to a place where you've worked so hard to come from that now you're thinking to yourself, whoa, why is this still bothering me? Oh my God, he looks so happy. You know, they cheated or they did this and they did that and they show no remorse for it. And all these feelings start coming into your head and you're thinking, oh, crap. And then suddenly, without even actually registering it, you start spiraling out of control downwards. All that work you've put in to get up is suddenly spiraling down. And you are losing control of the situation because you're starting to think about it more. You're starting to focus on that negative thought more. You're starting to process everything all over again. Yes, you've healed. Yes, you've moved on, but you're human, which means when things like this happen, you will have a setback. How do you deal with that? Well, we have this little golden rule, which is called the 5-minute rule. And basically what that means is when you come across a situation, as unsavory as it may be, or run into a person or anything like that that isn't a part of your plan, isn't a part of your journey, you only give it 5 minutes. And how do you do that? Well, firstly, you're going to take a deep breath and you're going to accept the fact that there's a reason for this to happen. It's either a blessing or a lesson. That's the first thing you're going to think. Secondly, you start to think about things in the grand context of things, of time. Now you're going to start thinking about it in terms of time. Now the timeline you're living to is going to be different to so many other people out there. So you don't need to think about other people's timeline, you're thinking about your own. And what you're going to think is this moment in time or this event that I'm going through actually going to be relevant in 5 minutes time? Is it going to be relevant in 5 days time? Is it going to be relevant in 5 weeks time, 5 months time, 5 years? Is it going to be relevant? Is it? Because chances are it's not going to be. You running into your ex, yes, it's brought out all the ugly feelings, so to speak, of the situation, and some feelings that you most probably felt that you've healed from, but the chances are you've just suppressed. But if you think about it carefully, do you really want to be dwelling on something that happened in the past if you're trying to focus on the future and the present as well? Let's always be grateful for the present. Or are you going to allow somebody else to take control of the situation, or are you going to regain control over that situation by sitting there, maybe phoning a friend, swearing, punching a punch bag, doing whatever you need to do for 5 minutes to be able to conquer that moment in time and get back onto your path and get back onto the amazingness that you are more than capable of achieving and feeling? Because as humans, we know we can't control the actions of other people. So we need to be prepared for the fact that we are more than likely to be running into people that we don't want to see. We may occasionally come across situations that we don't want to be in. We need to have mechanisms that keep us feeling sane and keep us on our path. Because why put in loads and loads of work if suddenly you are having all your plans literally, washed down the sinkhole because of other people's actions? So we take control of our own actions. We take control of how we feel. We take control of how things pan out, because we take control of ourselves and how we react. Now, there was a time back in the day when I was younger that I would have been one of those people that if a friend phoned me and said, oh my God, I ran into my ex, and I'd be going, how dare he be seen out with his new bird, blah, blah, blah. And I would have most probably been a bit of an instigator in the situation because I wasn't healed myself. And I would have most probably been quite angry for her as well, because I wouldn't have been able to comprehend the fact that all of this is a part of a journey that we're all on. The pain that we go through, we grow through. All these wrong matches that we come across in our love lives often are preparing us for the right person. When we end up in dead-end jobs that are not fulfilling, a lot of us realize it's because we need to be moving on to something much bigger and better. So everything that we come through is either a blessing or a lesson. And I've learned that along the way. But as a younger version of me, I wouldn't have known that. And chances are I would have assisted my friends to dwell on the past. Don't dwell on the past. If you're in that situation now where you're getting calls from your friends and they're saying, oh my God, I just ran into X, blah, 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 especially when this lockdown's easing, and you're saying stuff like, oh my God, how dare they? Oh my God, she's ugly. This. Stop it. Stop pouring oil onto this fire. Stop fanning the fire. Don't do that. Your friend deserves to move on and live a better life. Be with somebody that appreciates them. Be with somebody that loves them. Be in a better place. The past is behind them. Allow it to stay in the past. Do not drag it into the present, and do not drag it into the future, because seriously, you don't need to do that. That is not needed, because that is not going to help your friend heal. It's not going to help them move on, and it's definitely not going to help them manifest more amazingness into their life, and they are more than worthy than living an amazing life. Don't do that to your friend. And also, whilst we're on this subject, heal yourself. You've got problems, you've got issues, you've got skeletons in that closet. Drag them out and deal with them, because a hurt person that hasn't healed is more dangerous out there, because they're more than likely to hurt other people as well. And we'll get onto that into another podcast. But for today, we're going to stick back to the subject, which is being able to control how we deal with these things that suddenly we come across, so these obstacles. So I've taken the example of running into the ex. If you're brown and you're coming across people such as the ex-in-laws, for example, that is a hard one, especially if you've got children with an ex-partner and you've got to take the children to see them and things like that. You really do need to have this in the bag. You need to be able to say, hey, you know what? This doesn't bother me anymore. This is the past. I've moved on. I've healed. I've had to, because that is how we move on, and this is how we grow as humans. We don't sit around dwelling on the past. The past is behind us. If we were meant to focus on the past, your eyes would be in the back of your head, and that's true. We're not meant to. The rear view mirror on your car, have you noticed the size of it? I mean, let's be realistic about these things. We're not meant to look backwards, we're meant to look forward. We need to stay focused, and to stay focused is to control our thoughts and feelings, because as the quote is, where focus go, energy flows. We don't want to feed something that is literally an empty vacuum that isn't going to manifest anything amazing into our lives. We want to bring in more amazingness. We want to be able to be stronger, better, healthier, happier individuals. And for us to be able to do that, we do need to let go of the past. You can't forgive, fine. No one is going to judge you. But you do need to close that chapter in order to open a new chapter. There's no point in going back again and again and again and again and reading that chapter and not reading the ones that are coming up, because you're going to be stuck in a rut. You're on that hamster wheel. You need to get off the hamster wheel. You seriously need to get off it, because that is how we move on. We're on about growth. We're on about manifestation. We're on about building confidence. We're on about self-empowerment. How are you being self-empowered if you're constantly going to be looking backwards and feeding energy to something that happened in the past? Because the more energy you feed that situation, guys, let's be realistic. You're not going to be able to change the outcome. You cannot change the outcome. Why waste time on something you cannot change the outcome of? There is no point. Seriously, no point. You can look back and think, I should have done this differently. I should have done that differently. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there and I've sat there and, and at the start of the whole breakup situation, I cried and everything thinking, was it me? Of course it was me. I blame myself. I should have done this differently. I should have been a better brown wife. I should have been a better brown daughter-in-law. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have bent over more. I should have taken more abuse. I should have taken more flack. I should have done this. I shouldn't have just dumped my friends. I did dump my friends at one stage. Literally. I got rid of my social circle, literally, to keep everyone else happy because I needed validation from others, only to realise every time I did something for their validation, they'd move the goddamn goalposts for me. So I could never be validated and I could never get their approval. And I kept doing that and I kept doing that and I kept doing that and I kept feeding my energy into a situation that would not allow for growth because everybody else had control over the situation. I didn't. Now, I don't want people to do that because trust me, you need to grow, you need to move on, you need to do better. You are more than worthy. You are more than worthy. You deserve amazingness. You deserve to have that amazing job. You deserve to live in that amazing flat if that's what you want. You deserve to be in a loving relationship if that's what you want. You deserve to travel the world if that is on your list of things to do. You are more than worthy of this. Who are they to judge you or who are they to control your actions? Now, of course, if you're married right now and you're thinking I want to travel the world and your husband's there going, I don't think so, then that is something you need to talk about in your relationship. But we're talking about on the grand scale of things, of how control can influence us to change who we are. And if we can't take control of our own thoughts and feelings, we're ending up in this vacuum where we're constantly feeding in energy and nothing is coming out the other end. Nothing positive is coming out the other end. And that is what we need to think of. Because if you're constantly feeding a thought or a process that isn't actually manufacturing anything at the end of it, why are you doing it? You're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, and that isn't what we want. We want you to be able to achieve, be able to grow, build that confidence, become that self-empowered person that you want to be, bring on that transformation, do it all. But you cannot achieve that by feeding something that is dead in the water, literally. So when you do come across events like that, or even when, and this is a classic, and I found this a lot, and it'd be family members or extended family members bringing up the whole, oh, we're so sorry to hear about your divorce. And that's like years down the line. I'm thinking, really? Haven't we already been through this, auntie? It's gone, it's done, it's dusted, it happened. It was God's plan. I trust divine. It happened. It's done. And I'm moving on. I have moved on. But to have people sit there and then cover their eyes and start crying about things and say, oh, it was such a beautiful day. I don't really care how beautiful you thought the day was. The wedding day was, in my opinion, quite ugly. I didn't really have much to do with it. I had no literal planning. I didn't even pick anything I wore. I didn't even eat on my wedding day because the food wasn't on par with what I would eat. I'm being quite honest here. And having those people sit there and cry about it, and it's like, ugh, can we stop doing this? But that's quite ancestral, because that is also a cultural / ancestral thing that we have around, in particular, my tribe, which is sitting there dwelling on things that cannot be changed. And rather than challenging it, they would rather sit there and cry about it. So it's quite normal to sit there and cry and dwell about things that happened, rather than sit there and say, well, okay, this has happened. How do we move on from it positively as a family, as a tribe, and avoid this happening in the next generation? So yeah, those aunts that sit there going, oh, how horrible it must be to be a divorcee. Well, it's not that bad, to be honest. At least I can now control what I do myself. I don't have to keep bending over backwards to please people that can't be pleased. I don't have to constantly, drive myself to become even more ill every day trying to seek validation from people that will never give me the validation. So if I look at all those things, to be honest, I'm in a better place now. But trying to convince people is not going to work, because again, it's a cultural thing. Of course, if you're divorced, you're unhappy, which, to be honest, there's a lot of women out there that I know who are divorced and they're actually happier. Anyway, we won't go into that right now. We will one day though, because I think it's quite an interesting topic. But focus, which is the topic of today. Focus. We need to control our focus. We need to ensure other people cannot throw us off our path. We need to be able to say, okay, yeah, this has just happened. I'm going to give it this amount of time. I'm going to maybe shout, rant, rave, phone my friend. Now, I'm hoping you've all got a friend that's like a soundboard, which is they listen and listen and listen and don't give you an opinion until the day after if you ask for it. And phone up that friend. I have a friend like that. And you phone up that friend and you tell them exactly what's happened. They're going to say, oh, okay, and listen. And then you hang up the phone and that's it. You're done and dusted and you move on with your day. You don't sit there and dwell on it. You don't sit there and think, oh my goodness, this happened, that happened, blah, blah, blah. You move on. You move on. You don't give it any more thought. You don't give it any more energy. You saw the ex with his new bird. Good luck to him, and not, it's not a bad thing that he's moved on, because let's be honest, if anyone does cheat on you, there's already problems in the relationship and you shouldn't be in that relationship. If someone's willing to even consider cheating on you, you shouldn't be in that relationship. You deserve better. And as much as it's a weird way of looking at it, and I know there's going to be a lot of people thinking that doesn't make any sense, they've done you a favour by letting that you know exactly what they're capable of. And if they want to be a dog and they want to go and cheat, then that's fine. And I mean that in no offensive term towards dogs. I'm not even sure if dogs do cheat. I mean the four-legged variety. But anyway, they've done you a favour. They've actually shown that they're not going to be there long term. They're not going to be loyal. If you want to build an empire, if you want to build yourself up to be like a queen, so to speak, or a king, or whatever it is that, your ultimate description of your transformation is, you need loyal people. It's as simple as that. You need loyalty. You need people that will understand you. You need people that get the actual dream, that get the vision, that get why having a loyal person on your side is uber important to your transformation. Because what loyalty brings is a sense of feeling amazing, knowing that when everything is done and dusted and when you go home, you've got someone there that understands what it is that you've been doing. They're there to talk to you. They're there to love you. It's a separate entity to whatever it is that you're doing work-wise, but it's a relationship that withstands storms. And when you're going through transformations, guys, it can get quite stormy. It can get quite choppy. You do hit a lot of turbulence on the way, because if you've never done transformational work before, you're not sure what to expect, and it can get quite testing. And if you've got someone loyal, then at least they're going to be there, and you're going to be able to talk to them about things, and you're going to be able to have somebody there that will be like, it's okay, don't worry, tomorrow's a new day. But if you've got someone that's not loyal, they're soon going to get fed up of all of this, and they're going to suddenly be like, oh, you know what, let me just get onto whatever app it is and find someone new to chat to, or whatever it is that they're going to be doing. And that's just horrendous, and it will knock your confidence. It will cripple your manifesting of whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, and it will leave you in a dark and dire place, and that is not going to help anything whatsoever in the grand scale of things. So considering all of that, if you have been cheated on, they've done you a favor. If you've been mistreated, again, it's a lesson, because if you look at the blessing or lesson theory, then it's a lesson. Things happen. We can't control other people. Life is uncontrollable at the best of times. We can plan, but we can't always guarantee that what we're planning will happen. And if you cannot control how you react to those unplanned events, and if you cannot control how much they impact your life at those moments, then you're going to be hitting a problem, which is you're going to start thinking about negative things. You're going to spiral out of control. All that amazingness you put into getting into a better place is suddenly going to get washed down the sinkhole, and you're going to be there thinking, how do I get out of here? And then you spiral further and further and further, and you're back to square one again, and you didn't even realize how, because you allowed one moment or one event to take over everything. I don't want to see anyone go through that. And I honestly believe that we can control our mindset. If you can train your brain to only give 5 minutes to something and be able to then take control of your day and get back to your agenda, you're in such a better place all round. Because that 5 minutes, yes, has been taken out of your day, but that's 5 minutes in the grand scheme of things. 5 minutes, okay. We move on. That's what we do. We move on. We don't give it any more thought. We don't give it any more energy, because remember, giving the past energy is not going to change the outcome. And we're trying to change outcomes here. We can only change really what's here and now, and potentially what's in the future. We give it 5 minutes. We think about it. Is it going to matter in 5 days' time? Is it going to matter in 5 weeks' time, 5 months' time? Chances are it's a no. We give it 5 minutes. We phone our friend. We have a bit of a rant or rave. Please don't post about it on social media, because chances are you will find someone within your social network who's happy to, fan that fire and get things going and send you spiraling downwards. You don't want that. Do it privately. I'm not a big fan of airing your laundry publicly. And even though you might say, well, my social media is private. Yes, it might be private, but you've still got people on there who are not all going to be on the same page as you in terms of your transformational work. So phone up a trustable friend or family member, speak to them, case closed, move on, let's get on with our day. Because you need to control your thoughts. You need to control exactly where that energy is going. You need to be able to take responsibility of the way you think and how you react to, because you're the only one that can do that. No one else can do it for you. You're the one in charge. You're the one who needs to do it. You're the one who is responsible. You are the responsible adult now. I bet you didn't think I'd say that, did you? Responsible adult. You are the responsible adult. And for those of us that most probably run a mile at the idea of being a responsible adult, it's a scary thing, but you need to get a grip of the situation. You are responsible now. You are the responsible one. Now, with all that being said, and that is a lot to take in, because I'm asking you to suddenly take control over how you're thinking, how you're processing, how you're digesting your thoughts, how you're reacting, I'm going to wrap up this episode and let you get on with the idea of only giving 5 minutes to any thought that you did not plan for. So any event you didn't plan for and things like that. Now, of course, there's some things that you need to give more time to. And those are the big things, like suddenly losing a family member, a loved one, a friend, or so on and so forth. I'm not talking about those things. Those are major life-changing things. I'm talking about stuff like running into the ex with his new bird, seeing the former boss that wouldn't give you a pay rise, this type of thing. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about the smaller things. So let's just put that into context, because I don't want you to ever think that you shouldn't mourn for a loved one and things like that. And also, realistically, if someone's an ex and they've already got a new bird, you should have healed, or you should at least be half healed, if not completely healed, because clearly they've moved on. Why are you still allowing them to take your self-empowerment away from you? Why? They don't deserve to have that power. It's your power. Take it back. You're in control. Take it back. You deserve to be happy, content, and loved unconditionally by somebody loyal. Okay? Someone loyal. Okay, guys, with that being said, if you've enjoyed what you've heard today, don't forget to like, follow, share, let other people know what it is that we do, because the more people we can actually get hold of via this podcast, the more transformations we can spark, the more people we can empower, and the more amazingness we can spread around the world, which is so needed right now. We need this type of amazingness. So until the next episode, guys, take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Until then, bye.